Hey runners, welcome back to the Stretch and Stability series. We are now at episode 15. Let's get into it. Okay, for this next section, we're going to need the wall. So we're going to start in a cat-cow. So come into a quadruped position on your hands and knees. And we're going to go through a focused cat-cow where we're just considering the movement through the spine and trying to roll the spine up and down. So first starting with the pelvis, as we've done earlier in the series, we're just going to focus on extending and flexing the lumbar by tilting the pelvis back and up and then tucking the pelvis under. So just focusing on the lower back region. So tucking the tailbone under and then tilting the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Good. From here, we're just going to integrate the full movement. So going into the flexion, so tucking the pelvis under and then pushing the floor away from you and tucking in the chin. And then always initiating from the pelvis, tilt the tailbone up, and then start to extend the upper spine, pulling the shoulders down as you lift up the head. And then again, tucking the tailbone under, engaging the glutes, pushing the floor away from you, tucking the chin. Always starting from the pelvis, tilt the tailbone up, pull the shoulders down, lift up the chest, try to extend your upper spine, lifting up the chin at the end, and then tucking it again, pushing into the floor and finishing with the chin. So just getting these really considered cat-cows where we're rolling the spine up and down, initiating from the pelvis, always finishing with the chin. So think rolling from the pelvis up to the chin. And we'll do one more. So coming into the extension, rolling the spine up, pulling the shoulders down, lifting up the head, engaging the glutes, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. Good. We're now going to come against the wall and we're going to replicate the same motion of the cat-cow into these spinal waves against the wall, or you can use a sofa or a chair as I've mentioned previously. So bring the hands onto your surface and we want the hands to be about the height of the shoulders. And then from here, starting in a neutral position, we're going to go through our spinal waves. So initiating from the pelvis, so going into the extension, and then allowing the upper back to extend, dropping the chest down to the floor, and then lifting with the chin. Then going to go the other way, starting from the pelvis, tucking the pelvis, engaging the glutes, and then allowing the upper back to round and tucking the chin. Almost feel like you're pulling down on the wall or pushing down into your sofa or chair or whatever you're using, and then going back into the extension, rolling up the spine, lifting up the chin. And then again, tuck in, roll up, rounding the spine, tuck the chin in the top position, and then initiate from the pelvis, dropping the chest down to the floor, and then lifting up. And again, tuck the tailbone under, engage the glutes, round the spine, tuck the chin, and we'll do two more. Going into extension, chin comes up last, and then tucking under, push into your object, tuck the chin. Good. Okay, let's come back to our cat-cows. So hands onto the floor, and then just going through the motion again here. So tucking in, pushing, tucking the chin. We can move a little bit faster through these now. Gaze up. So you should feel a little bit more open through your cat-cow now. And then let's just go finally into that extended position again. And then lifting up with the chin. Good. We're going to revisit the tabletop. So you're going to bring your hands behind you. And then squeezing the shoulder blades together. And we want the heels to be about 1 foot's distance away from the glutes. So heels one foot's distance away from the glutes. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, shoulders back and down, and then we're lifting the bum off the floor. Keeping the shoulder blades together, we're driving the hips up, and we're just going to go for 8 reps here. So that's 1, 2, and don't worry if you don't come all the way up. That's totally fine. Just try and focus on squeezing the shoulder blades together. 4, 5, 6. Allow the head to just follow the natural plane of motion, so the head does tilt back just ever so slightly in the top position. And then coming into one more, holding at the top, and then just rocking forwards and backwards if you feel comfortable to do that. If not, just hold at the top and think about squeezing the shoulder blades together, pushing the floor away from you. Good. And then we're just going to drop down, bring the bum down onto the floor. And that concludes our section on the spine. We're going to work on the hips and glutes now. We're going to be focusing on strengthening your rotation through the hips and then also strengthening through your glutes, particularly the outer part of the glute. So we're going to start with our rotations. We're going to come into a 90-90 position with the legs. So to find this, you can drop the right knee down to the floor and try to find a 90-degree angle with the right leg, and then bring that left leg into a 90-degree angle. Now, you might not be able to get that right knee down to the floor, which is totally fine, and you might feel that you have to twist around towards the right a touch, and that's also fine. We're going to go for rotation, so let's just start by just trying to understand the feeling of transitioning from side to side. And don't worry about getting the knees to touch the floor, just do whatever you feel comfortable with for now, just as we warm up. Okay, so just rotating side to side and trying to preserve those two 90-degree angles. And we're also trying to keep the chest up. And I've got my hands behind me. Okay, so just going for these nice, gentle 90-90 rotations. Now I'm going to just turn towards my left leg. And what I want to try and do now as I go through my 90-90s is create a separation between the knees. So with my hands on the floor, I'm going to try and create a separation between the right knee and the left knee. So what I'm going to do with my hands on the floor is just lift up with the right knee and try and create this pull, and that's going to create this stretch through the inner thigh. I'm then going to pivot on my heels and try and come round to the other side. Here you're trying to get the knee as close to the floor as possible, but don't worry if you can't get it to the floor, and don't worry if your body needs to rotate a little bit to the side. If you have got the range here, you can think about trying to keep the chest forwards as you drop the knee down to the floor, and that's going to work your hip internal rotation. Okay, so we're focusing on the separation between the knees, we're pivoting on the heels, and then we're transitioning, and we're trying to get the knee close to the floor. And if we can, we're trying to keep the chest forwards. Otherwise, we can allow for a little bit of rotation. Okay, so let's just keep going through these 90-90s with this new awareness of creating a separation between the knees, of trying to get a little bit of internal rotation as that knee here drops down to the floor. Trying to keep the chest up as we do this. So this is improving your range of motion in your internal and external hip rotation. And also we're getting some strengthening here through the hips, and really try and create that separation between the knees. So this is an exercise that could be really easy if you don't think about what you're doing. So we're trying to make these perhaps simple exercises as hard as we can make them. Good, cool. So there are your hip rotations. We're now going to go into some strengthening for the glutes. So what I want you to do is just set up by lying onto your side. And then again, we're going to go for these two 90-degree angles with the legs, but we're now just going to stack the legs on top of one another, and we're keeping the hands forward. What we're going to do is we're going to lift up with the left leg, but as you do this, try not to rotate back. Your body's going to want to rotate back and twist back. We're trying to keep everything forwards. Now, a way to make sure that you're not twisting back with the hips is think about keeping the right knee slightly in front of the left knee as we lift up. So we're going to lift the whole leg up off the right leg up off the left knee, and we're trying to keep this knee just slightly in front of the left side. Otherwise, we're going to twist back and not get that activation through the glutes. Okay, and then we're going to come down. We're going to go for 8 reps here. So that's 1, 2. Now don't worry if your range is just to here. That's totally fine. 3. Try and keep everything forwards. 4, 5. So my right knee is in front of my left. 6. 2 more. 7. And last one. 8. Good. Okay, we're now going to go over to the other side. So let's go over to the other side, and we've now got the right leg on the floor, creating that 90-degree angle, keeping the torso forwards, arms out in front of you, and then we're going to have the left leg also in a 90 degree, And as we lift off, remember you want to keep that left knee slightly in front of the right as we lift up. So we're going for 8 again. So that's 1. Hopefully you should be feeling this in the outer glutes. 2, 3. Really try and be strict with your form, even if it means you're only lifting up a touch. 4. So keeping that left knee in front of the right. 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good. Okay, let's go back to our 1990s. So 1990 rotations, that is. So finding 2 90-degree angles with the legs. No expectation to have this knee down on the floor, but if you can, that's great. If you need to twist around, that's totally fine. And let's go for that 90-90 rotation with the awareness of trying to create the separation between the knees. Okay, so we're lifting off the left knee as we keep the right knee down on the floor, creating this stretch through the inner thigh as we then transition over to the other side. And we're pivoting on our heels. And if we can, we're trying to drop that knee down to the floor. And if you're advanced, you can try and keep the chest forward as you do this to feel that internal rotation. So we're abducting the hips here, creating the separation, coming over, dropping that knee as close to the floor as you can get it. And we'll just go for these rotations again. Now, if you want to, if you are advanced, you can take your hands off the floor here and make this really active. So you can go for a nice active 90-90 rotation if you can, but otherwise use the support from the floor. Okay, so remember you're pivoting on your heels, so you can think about having the toes flexed up. Really try and create that separation between the knees to maximize the output from this exercise. So we're trying to also get this nice stretch through the inner thigh as we're initiating our rotation. Trying to get that knee to the floor. If you can, trying to keep the chest forwards throughout the whole motion. Good. And do 10 more seconds. Keeping the chest upright. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's go back down into our hip abduction where we're strengthening the glutes. So we're finding that 90-degree angle with the left leg, 90-degree angle with the right leg, keeping the right knee slightly in front of the left leg as we lift up. Okay, let's go for 1, 2, trying to keep everything forward. So I've got my hands out in front of me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good, let's go over to the other side. So setting up with a 90-degree angle with the right leg, bringing the left knee on top, bringing that knee slightly in front of the right knee. Hands forward, keep the torso forward, keep the hips forward. Let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good. Cool. So we're going to take a hold of the left leg. So both hands are going to come underneath the left thigh. And then from here, we're simply just going to straighten the leg out in front of us. Now, you can modify this. So if it feels too hard, you're just going to lower the knee. And if it feels too easy, you can bring the knee in towards your chest a bit more. So let's start with an easy variation. So I'm going to bring the knee about the height of my chest. And then from here, with the toes pointed, I'm going to extend the leg for 1. And try and keep the chest upright as you do this. 2, 3, 4. Let's go to 8. 5. Nice and upright. 6. Remember, you can make it harder by lifting the knee up, or easier by lowering down. 7. And last one, 8. So you should feel your quad and maybe into the hip flexors as well. You should feel that area activate as you do these. So let's go onto the right side, supporting underneath the thigh. And then 8 reps. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you're fully extending the leg. 4, So if you can't fully extend, you just need to lower the knee. 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good. We're going to go back to the glute bridge calf raise that we did earlier in the series. This time we're going to try a single leg variation just for an isometric hold. If this is too hard, you can go back to 2 legs. So coming into the glute bridge, palms facing down into the floor, and then walking the heels right up to the glutes, driving the hips up, and then walk the feet right back towards your glutes. Make sure the feet are nice and straight. Let's just start with our position with 2 feet on the floor, both feet on the floor. And we're just going to start with some calf raises. So we'll just go for 8 reps here. So dropping the heels down to the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really try and grip the toes into the floor as you do this and elevate the heels as high as possible. 6, 7, and 8. Good. We're now going to try an isometric hold. So you're just going to hold with 1 foot off the floor with the right heel elevated in this instance. And if you can't do this, just come back to a hold with both feet on the floor. So I'm going to lift my left foot off the floor and then driving the right heel up as high as possible and just holding here. And you should feel your calf activate, but maybe also your hamstring should be activating here. Trying to keep the hips up nice and high. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go over to the other side. So gripping the toes into the floor, drive the heels up, lift off with the right leg, bring that knee in just a touch, and holding there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And come down. We're going to go back to our knee extensions. So coming into the seated position, and this time we can try and go a little bit higher. So from where you were before, if you're able to fully extend, just try and come up a little bit now. So we're just trying to modify this, making it a touch harder than the last round. So now extending the leg for 1, 2, 3, nice and upright with the chest. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So remember, some of you will be down here, which is totally fine, okay? Let's go on the right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good. Back to your glute bridge. Walking the heels right up towards the glutes, drive the hips up, walk the feet in a touch more, elevate the heels, and let's go straight into our reps. So dropping the heels down, driving them up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's take off the left leg, bring the knee in towards the chest. Let's hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other side. Grip the toes into the floor, elevate the heel, drive the right knee in towards the chest. Really try and lift up the heel on the left foot. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's do one more round. So coming into the seated position, both hands underneath the left leg, supporting the thigh. Again, if you can, try and go a little bit higher with the knee now, trying to just modify this, making it a little bit harder. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, chest upright, 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good. To the other side. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fully extend the leg. 5, 6, 7, and last one, 8. Good. Down onto your backs. Last glute bridge calf raise. So walk the heels in towards you, drive the hips up, walk the feet in, elevating the heels, and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the hips up. 5, 6, 7. Last one. 8. Bring the left knee in, holding there. Keep that heel up nice and high. Keep the hips up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other side. Bring the right knee in. Keep the left heel up. Drive that heel up. Keep the hips up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Come down. Nice. Cool. So that concludes our section on the lower limb. Okay, runners, that concludes our session for today. Hope to see you on the mat soon.